Alright, in the seventh part of the tutorial we will introduce word embeddings, where the basic concept has been a driving force for many NLP applications. So what are word embeddings? The basic idea of word embeddings is actually very old. So in earlier works people have been using something like co-occurrence matrices, where words are being counted on how often they occur together. And the basic idea was then to use these as a representation for a word. And the idea of word embeddings is basically similar. So we are trying to model the word by the context it keeps, which basically means we look at the surrounding words and train a neural network to predict the missing word given the context, or predict the context given a word. So this was initially proposed by Benjo et al. Quite early, but hasn't been really usable due to hardware limitations for a long time. So when Mikolov first proposed their approach, they proposed basically two types of models, one called CBOW and one called scriptgram. And the idea of CBOW is that you basically predict the word based on given the context, and the idea of scriptgram is basically the opposite direction. So you're given a word, you try to predict what the context will be. And one of the key arguments they made was to use more data on a less sophisticated model instead of using a more sophisticated model with little data. And the cool thing is now that they have specific properties. For instance, you can add them up or subtract them, and this is basically one of the go-to examples. What was interesting to see was the representation that is learned by the neural network allows you to do things like this. So if you take the vector for the word king, add the vector for the word woman, and subtract the vector for the word man from it, you will get a vector that is very similar to the vector of the word queen. So this really boosted away the whole NLP community, and people started working a lot on these kinds of embeddings, which are pre-computed, which is also great because that allows you to do like a large part of the computation once and use the same embeddings over and over again. And what basically people are then doing are adding additional models on top of the pre-trained embeddings, which are then trained to do a specific task.